We are talking about the hottest teenage striker on the planet, not my favourite Mason Greenwood. We're off to Salzburg. We're going to be talking about Erling Braut Haaland. The centre-forward has been in scintillating form since the start of the summer. In 28 games, he scored 41 goals. Today on Squawka, we're going to be talking about tactics and which team he could fit into. Without further ado, it's time to dive in. So the logical move for Haaland will be to stay in the Red Bull model and move to Leipzig. Leipzig this season have set up in a number of different shapes and systems under Julian Nagelsmann. They've scored more goals than any other side in Europe's top 5 leagues. And the big guy there, of course, Timo Werner. 18 goals and 5 assists. Been absolutely incredible this season. And what you'd expect if Haaland were to join RB Leipzig would be that Timo Werner would be out the door. I think that's the only reason why Haaland would go there if there was a first team spot open. So basically what you'd be seeing would be Werner would be moved on, or not out of Leipzig's choice, but because he's become such a good player. And Haaland would come in as the number 9, the guy that's running in behind, using his pace to really unlock defences. The interesting side with Leipzig is they usually use a big striker, a focal point for their attacks, who drops into an attacking midfield position to receive the ball to feet. It's really interesting movements. Sometimes we see the wingers becoming strikers and it looking like a bit of a diamond in midfield as well. But the thing that Haaland will get would be a lot of support and a lot of chances. Probably the best part for his career in terms of his development next will be playing under Julian Nagelsmann. Julian Nagelsmann, of course, has had the likes of Joe Linton, turned him into a world beater, Kramaric, Timo Werner now, and to name a number of players that he's really turned to the next sort of stage in their career. And that would be the same with Haaland. In the 4-4-2 for RB Leipzig, they'll defend in a 4-4-2, and then they'll either transition to that diamond, as we mentioned before, even a 3-2-4-1. There's lots of different shapes, so Haaland will be operating in that position, but mainly making those runs in behind the defence and becoming Leipzig's new number 9. So moving on, let's stick in the Bundesliga. Another option for Haaland is Borussia Dortmund. They'd be a really good model. We've seen a number of young players come through Borussia Dortmund's team in recent years. We've mentioned Dembele, Jadon Sancho, to name a few. What Borussia Dortmund do lack, though, at the moment is a number 9. A guy that's going to play on the last man. Paco Alcácer did well in stages last season, but this season Lucien Favre has gone with a 3-4-3 and have a really fluid attacking lineup with Royce, Sancho and Hazard, of course, Thorgan, Eden's brother. So where you'd likely to see Haaland come in would be probably for Hazard, and what you'd see is Sancho move to the right wing, maybe Royce to the left wing, and then actually having a number 9 through the middle. This team would be creatively perfect. Their ability to get down the flanks with Guerrero and Hakimi, but also with Jadon Sancho and Marco Reus getting in and around Haaland in the penalty area, this could be absolutely perfect. What the exciting side here for Haaland is if Jadon Sancho is still a Borussia Dortmund player. Sancho's got more assists than any other player in the last 2 seasons in Europe's top 5 leagues. 9 this season, 14 last season. He's been absolutely incredible in terms of that creativity. And if one man you want in the penalty area at the moment would be Haaland, his ability to score from through balls, from low crosses, from high crosses, he's got the physique to score in all those positions. So that'd be the really exciting side there. Marco Reus is also a player that builds partnerships with players. You think Mario Götze back in the day, you think Jadon Sancho now. He's a combination player. Haaland, Sancho, there'd be 3 players there up front that would combine perfectly. So Borussia Dortmund would be a really good way for him to go in if he wants to be the undeniable number 9 at one football club. So let's jump out of Germany and move over to Italy. Which clubs, you say, will Haaland be good at in the Italian Serie A? Well, you're looking at the likes of Inter Milan, AC Milan. They'd be good, but Juventus probably would be the team for him. You're thinking Juventus may have the money to do that, but you'd likely see one of their forward players have to be moved on and to balance the wages. Either someone like a Gonzalo Higuain or Dybala. Probably expect it to be Higuain that'd be moved on due to the cost of his wages and age. You're getting basically a younger version of Higuain that is a bit more physical, that can press really aggressively from the front, that would maybe allow Ronaldo to cheat in a defensive sense on the counter-attack, not doing too much defensive work. But I think the big thing with Juve this season, the midfield isn't quite up to standards. I don't think they've quite got Sarri ball yet. But in a front 3, with Dybala pulling the strings in that sort of false 9 position, making the movement into the central area, Ronaldo pulling wide left, Haaland pulling wide right, could be a really, really good front 3 for Juventus. The big thing, I think, for this team is you'd expect the creativity as well to come from fullback. So, you could see an upgrade there as well if to get the best out of Haaland, a player that likes crossing into the box, likes a lot of chances created for him. I don't think you're going to get that from a Bentancur or a Matuidi in that central midfield area. So I think there's work to be done there. A lot of responsibility on Ronaldo Ronaldo and Dybala to also help out in the number 9 if he were to move to Turin. But could be a really good move under someone like Maurizio Sarri. His overall game will massively improve. He'll be better in terms of receiving the ball in the right areas with the right body orientation. Again, would improve as a player. But you think in this team, if Higuain's still there, if Ronaldo's there, if Dybala's there, also, you've got other players that can play in those forward positions, the likes of Bernardeschi, Costa. I don't really think this is the right fit for Haaland right now. If he were to move to Juve, I wouldn't say to do it now. I'd say maybe to do it when Ronaldo has moved on and take that position as the main goal scorer within the side. And finally, let's talk about Manchester United. Of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer previously worked with Haaland at Molde, brought him through into the starting lineup. So it could be an interesting one there. You're thinking, players have a real sense of, sticking to the manager that first brought them into the side. So it could be an interesting one. Manchester United's lineup, probably the strongest at the moment without Paul Pogba. The 4-2-3-1, but where you could see Haaland maybe coming to this side is in that sort of number 10 position, but as a striker. I think Manchester United with Haaland would be a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-4. Dan James on the right wing, Rashford on the left wing, Martial as the left forward, Haaland as the right forward. That is a scary front four. Very, very youthful as well. I think Marcus Rashford has the ability to drive down the wing, to cut inside. Same with Anthony Martial. The Haaland would be the side's goal scorer. And I think with someone like Dan James on the right flank, that could be really interesting. The crosses and the quality of balls he puts in. Sometimes Dan James is ahead of the attack. And you need someone with Haaland's ability to cover ground and the pace that he has to get in behind, but also to get on the end of crosses, could be vitally important. Of course, for Dan James, his debut Premier League season, he's got 5 assists already. You think he would have got a lot more if there was someone to get on the end of some moves in that penalty area. And Haaland has the pace to be that guy. And that could be really interesting, you're thinking as well, with Paul Pogba returning to the side. I think in United are starting to look really, really dangerous. McTominay, Pogba in midfield. Front four that's dynamic, that would press, that would work really, really hard. And I think that's the other side of it. Defensively, you're going to get a lot out of Haaland in terms of his pressing. Coming from Salzburg, he's learned that pressing model. You think Man United could as well switch their systems. For example, if they wanted to play that diamond in midfield with the likes of Fred coming back into the side, we could see that and a little bit of transition of shape. See potentially Marcus Rashford as a sort of second striker in behind them. McTominay holding, Pogba on the right-hand side, Fred on the left-hand side. The diamond is very much an option. A diamond, a 4-4-2, could be perfect for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United with Haaland in the centre-forward position. Although one other option could be the 4-2-3-1. This time, Anthony Martial, unfortunately, hitting the bench and being maybe an impact player. Dan James to the right-hand side, Rashford back after the left wing, and of course, Paul Pogba playing as a number 10. That two pairing, you're thinking Paul Pogba loves a player that runs in behind, that he can play the through balls to. We've seen that frequently for Marcus Rashford. He's got another guy in Haaland in the middle that can do that, but also Dan James likes to make that move in behind. Pogba now has that ability to play all those passes, to get Manchester United into that final third, to unlock those deep packed defences. A 4-2-3-1 could be an option. Same with the diamond, same with a 4-2-4. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United is perfect for the Norwegian wonder kid. So just to conclude, I personally, as a Manchester United fan, would love to see someone with a goal-scoring potential as Haaland at Old Trafford. We fit perfectly into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's model with Pogba in there at number 10, either the 4-2-4 or the diamond. But could be quite interesting if he stays in the Red Bull model, has another year in the Bundesliga, and then maybe moves to one of Europe's elite. So I think if I were to advise him, RB Leipzig with Julian Nagelsmann as manager could be a good sort of jump to then move to a Manchester United style club. But I've been Statman Dave. Make sure, of course, to subscribe if you're new. We are pushing through 100k subscribers before Christmas. So do it right now. Hit that subscribe button, like that goddamn video, and we will see you next time on Squawka.